Alrighty, welcome everyone to our Course 8. It is already June 10th. We are almost done with our Eastside Union High School District Spartan summer program. I can't believe it. Feels like we just started yesterday. There's so much more that we can cover, so much more that we still have to cover in our last 2 days. Just to recap what today is going to look like, getting ready for Sparta Camp. So we're going to be joined by several different departments, which I'll cover in a moment. What the rest of the week is going to look like as well. We have a lot that, again, we want to talk about. So today, getting ready for Sparta Camp. Tomorrow, we're going to hear from our Counseling and Psychological Services office about all of these different tools to help you get ready for processing. So things like mindfulness, time management, stress relief, and as well as a panel from our our peer mentors, so that way you can hear a little bit more about the student experience as well. On Friday, we are going to be joined by our academic preparations office, talking about those English and math requirements, those support classes if that's what you needed. So if you do not have orientation on Thursday or Friday, please join us on those days. If you do have orientation and you do want to finish out the program, please go to orientation. Orientation is 100% mandatory, so you do need to go to that. We'll have a self-paced module for you to do later. That way you can complete the program and still have all those benefits and be entered in that raffle there. So as we are waiting for just a couple more folks to join us here, I want to just share our poll. So we did ask, how many of you have been with us throughout this time? We have one of you that this is your first time. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. We're glad that you could be here. Hopefully you join us the rest of this program. And you can always go to our Google Classroom to see the recordings of previous sessions. So check that out. We also have a playlist on YouTube where you could see all of the sessions as well, which is accessible on our new website, sjsu.edu/SOAR, SOAR/Spartan Eastside Promise. So check that out. Of a couple of you, you've attended 2-3 sessions. Welcome back. A couple of you attended 4 sessions, 5 sessions. Welcome as well. We're glad that you were able to make it today. Question or 6. Some of you have attended 6, some have attended 7, but the majority of you have attended all of our sessions, which is great. We are so glad that you have been with us throughout all of these courses since course 1, Monday, June 1st, and just been with us through this process, building community, building those connections for support. You've heard so far from resources such as our Mosaic Cross-Cultural Center, our Pride Center, our Chicanx Latinx Student Success Center, our Writing Center, resources from all areas of campus that can help you grow academically, professionally, and reach those personal goals as well. So once again, we hope you do continue to join us throughout the remainder of this program, that you can go back to that Google Classroom to revisit those sessions and go through those homework modules. I see some of you have been doing that. Great. Those are, again, they're not graded, but they're for your benefit, to be able to really have that extra time to have that guided practice on tools like My Scheduler to create your schedule for orientation for fall. Tools like our roadmaps and so forth to just really help you get ready for that next step. So definitely make sure you take time to be able to do that. Thank you to those that have been sharing on Flipgrid as well. It's great to get to know you, get to see your stories, hear your questions and concerns, and engage with you that way as well. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the rest of our agenda here, which is starting off with our testing office, and then will be followed by new student and family programs. So if you have questions about, the PPA, the pre-calculus proficiency assessment, if you have questions on orientation, today is a great day to get those questions answered. We also said today was the day to invite your family members, your parents, or supportive adult or guardian in your life that is going to be going through this process with you. The reason for that, especially now that most of our fall classes are going to be online, college, and even before then, honestly, just speaking on my own experience, college can really be a family experience because, yes, we're the students are the ones that are doing the classes, taking the test, going to campus when needed, but our families are with us there. They can really be that area of support for us, that area to be able to, be that resource for us, be able to encourage us, motivate us, as well as adapting with us through this process. I can't tell you, especially as a first generation student, so no one in my family had went to college, how that experience wasn't just for me, but it was for my family to be able to learn and adapt and see what this process was like, be able to learn about this higher education system, how there were some of those difficult conversations of, you know, I can't do the dishes right now, I have to study for this exam, or I have to be at the library till 10 p.m. because I need to study for this, or whatever that was. And really just having those open lines of communication, that dialogue there, to be able to work through this process together, be able to go from start to finish together. So that being said, you're going to hear from, first off, our testing office to hear about these assessments. So I'm going to pass it along to, whoops, sorry about that. So to our testing office, represented by Derek Coe. Derek, you can share your screen. One moment. Alrighty, Derek, are you there? Great, thank you. Okay. As Derek is fixing his sound here, just a couple questions I want to pose to you all. Alrighty, for those that are finishing up the poll, Derek, let me know when you're ready. Looks like we have, out of those participating today, we have about half of you have completed your reflection of college writing. That is great. For those that haven't, just a reminder, you do have to complete that before your orientation. Derek will talk more about that in a moment. And then for the PPA, so the pre-calculus proficiency, about 9% of you have done that. About half have not done it yet. And about nearly 40%, it's not required.
Yep. Can everybody hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I think I was talking while I was mute just now. So let me go back to Reflections of College Writing. If you haven't finished it, we need you to finish it as soon as possible. Everybody that comes to the campus will need to take it. You should be done before the Sparta camp, so don't wait until the week of. Try to do it 2 weeks before your Sparta camp orientation. That will help you to be ready. If you have issues in terms of if you have issues in terms of accessing it, I'm going to walk you through a little bit. So you will have to check your MySGSU email, and then you will get an email that says you have a course invitation. You need to click on it, and then you can get started on Canvas through that. You will need to log on to one.sjsu.edu, and then that's about it. You just have to wait. It's about a 10-hour course that you will have to do. It's a self-paced, so you can break it into sections and do it in 3 different days or 4, or even 1 day if you choose to. Okay. As for the pre-calculus proficient SCA assessment, all majors that require calculus will need to take this PPA. You will have gotten a message from on MySGSU or a link on your MySGSU that you need to take it. Engineering students are really strongly urged to take this test prior to orientation, because we want you to be able to not take pre-calculus as your first course, so that then you will have a better progress to degree and possibly able to graduate in 4 years. If you take this pre-calculus course on your first term, your chances of graduating in 4 years will be very slim. So my suggestion is take it prior to your orientation session. Please note that we are doing online proctoring, so you will need to take it 3 days prior to your orientation session in order for the scores to be able to be posted in time for orientation. Let me name some majors that I know of that will need the PPA. One of them will be all science majors, which is chemistry, biology, geology. That's forensic science in chemistry and biology. And also all engineering majors will need it. There's also a subset group of business, aviation, and technology and packaging that will also need this PPA in order to register for a calculus course. So please complete it as soon as possible. It takes about 3 days for you to complete. So try to plan ahead so that then you can be on time for orientation and register for the correct course. Who you need to contact if you have issues, just email testing-office@sjsu.edu and we will take care of you. If you do have AP transfer credit, please send them to our school as soon as possible. If you already have your score report, just send a PDF to the testing office email and we will take a look at it. You'll still need to send official scores if you have not requested them. If you have any issues, you can email. For Reflections of College Writing, please email directed self-placement at sjsu.edu. And for the PPA, just email the testing office at sjsu.edu. And that's about it. Does anybody have any questions for me? And I'll be more than happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Looks like we have a few questions in the chat here. So the first question here is, what if I have not taken the PPA and my orientation is tomorrow?
So what will happen is that you'll be registered for the lower level course that you are allowed to based on your current math category and what courses that you have taken at high school. And if you take the PPA after that, you can actually, if you get a high score on the PPA, you can actually enroll in the Calculus 30. So if you haven't taken it, you will have to wait. Even if you have a 570 and above on your SAT math score, I see another question, you do not have to take it if you're a business, aviation, and technology major. But if you're a STEM major, you're still required to take the PPA. So that does not exempt you from the PPA. So any science majors, engineering will have to take the PPA regardless. Yes, most Bachelor of Science requires the PPA unless you have taken a community college course that is equivalent. You have taken the CLEP, maybe calculus test with a 50 or higher, or you have AP of 3 or higher on the AP calculus AB or calculus BC. Those will exempt you from the PPA. If not, you should take the PPA so that then you will not land into pre-calculus. We would like you to be placed in calculus and engineering as well, so that then you can have faster progress to degree.
We have another question here.
If you're taking pre-calculus at a college right now, do you need to take PPA? I would suggest still take the PPA, because if you do not pass the course with a C- or better, you will still end up being in pre-calculus at SJSU. And because you're taking it in the summer, your transcripts might not arrive for you in order for you to enroll for courses this fall, or the courses might be full already at that point. So my suggestion is still take the PPA if you're currently taking a pre-calculus course at a community college. And make sure that you check with the articulation to make sure that it actually articulates to Calculus 1 or pre-calculus at SJSU. I did have a student that I was working with before this session that did not take a course that was articulated, so they will still have to take a PPA, okay? For the RCW, the week of my orientation, what will happen? If you completed the week of your orientation and or you don't finish it before, you might not be able to enroll for your English course for the fall semester. And it is required that you enroll in English and math on your first term, so that then you have faster degree to progress.
We have another question here. If the PPA is required for theater arts?
No, the PPA is not required for theater arts and all social science majors. It could be sociology. It's not required for psychology. It's not required for political science. Art majors are not required to take them. And most stats-based like kinesiology is not required as well.
There's another question here. Would I still take the PPA if I already took it in high school?
Yes. Even if you take pre-calculus or calculus in high school, you're still required to take the PPA.
We have another question.
I see. Yeah, the RCW, I hear that the RCW is completed when you get a grade of 10 of 10. Just to make it right, that question should be emailed to Directed Self-Placement. I'm sure that they could answer that question better than I can, okay? Is the PPA required for undeclared? The PPA is required for undeclared students more than actually regular students, because if you are planning to add into a STEM major, you should take the PPA so that you can enroll into calculus on your first semester. Do we get any confirmation that the scores have been sent after we finish the PPA? We are not sending confirmations to you. It will take 3 business days for the scores to be loaded. As of yesterday, we have finished in all the proctoring and reviewing and enter all the scores on Monday. So the ones today might be later today or tomorrow. Let's see. Do we have to take the PPA if we pass calculus at a community college? If you have already passed calculus, then you should send your unofficial transcripts to testing-office@sjsu.edu, and then we can take a look at it and I can clear the PPA from and you do not need to take the PPA if you have a C or minus or better. Is PPA required for communicated disorders in science? No, it's not required.
Derek, we have
It's
another. Oh, sorry about
mhm.
that. We have another one. A student says they got an email saying they did take the exam, but it was invalid, but their orientation is tomorrow. What would you recommend?
If your test is invalid and your orientation is tomorrow, then unfortunately you have to schedule a new one. You just go for orientation and schedule for tomorrow, and then you will schedule another one to be taken at a later time. I have another question here. Is PPA required for public health? No. Is PPA required for business accounting? Yes. If you do not have a 570 or higher on the SAT math, or 23 or higher on the ACT, or a calculus AB or BC score 3 or higher, then you will need to take the PPA. If you have those exemptions, you do not have to. If you pass calculus in high school, you need to take it? Yes, you do. Passing calculus in high school does not exempt you from the PPA. Only community college courses will exempt you. For the PPA, there are 5 opportunities to take the test, and only 2 of those are proctored. You keep taking the test until it is the proctored test? Yes, you do take the test until you get to the proctored one. That's how it works, because we want you to have your best possible chances to pass the PPA. So we want you to keep working on that. The skill knowledge check modules in there will help you actually get to the point where you do not need to take pre-calculus and you can get into calculus. I've seen people do spend time in it and get a very low score initially, but get a very high score later. Do we have any questions? Other questions?
I have another question. It's not in the chat, but we've gotten it quite frequently throughout the program. What happens if someone chooses or they do not complete the RCW, the Reflection on College Writing?
That one, I'm not sure. You will have to contact directed self-placement for that question. If they do not complete the reflections of college writing, I think they may be placed in English 1AF without a choice, which means that they'll take the stretch English rather than the regular one.
Gotcha. And then I'll go ahead and put their email and their link in the chat. I've heard similar that you won't be able to enroll in a course, so definitely make sure that you complete that to avoid any roadblocks.
And the key is that when you complete it, it gives you a better idea whether you will succeed in the course that you pick. So it will help you make a choice which course you should pick, either English 1A or the stretch English, which is in 2 semesters for English 1AF and English 1AS. So by completing it, it will help you determine where you stand in English and what you should take in the future. And it kind of helps you make a decision. Do we have any other questions? So the difference between the 2 English classes is that the English 1AF and 1AS is a 2-part, which is a 2-semester course, which means that your English will be stretched out in 2 courses rather than English 1A, which is 1, which will mean that you have less units and will be able to graduate sooner. So that's the difference between those classes. Do we have any other questions? No, graphic design does not need the calculus. Unless you're planning to minor in calculus, I do have people that are trying to minor in majors that require calculus, including in business, and you will have to take the PPA if you do. Do we have any other questions? Does the RCW have any relation to what classes we look at in high school? Yes, it does. And if you took AP classes, would it mean anything? It would. It will ask you to reflect on those classes and then make your decision from there. Does public health major need calculus? No, public health does not. Public health will need to do a statistics major. If I got a 3 on the AP calculus high school AP test, do I need to take the PPA? No, you do not. You just need to send your official score, your unofficial score report to the testing office email box, and then we will clear you from the PPA. And you will need to send official scores to SJSU and bring those scores to orientation. That will be my suggestion. Does animation major require calculus? No, it does not. Any other questions? Can I take calculus even if I'm not required for my major? Yes, you can. If you choose that, then you should send the testing office an email, and then we will give you a link to the PPA. Just complete it, and then you can take calculus, even if it's not required. And if you choose to take calculus, you can choose to. Just in case if you want to change your major. You are a public health major, you do not need the PPA. That's why you did not have an email regarding the PPA. You will need a statistics course. Any other questions?
I got a question sent privately. It says, if I don't plan to take calculus until my second semester, do I need to take the PPA before orientation, or can I take it later?
You can take it later, but you have to wait until October to take it. So what happens is that I close the PPA in September for 1 month before I reopen it. And you have to remember during this term to contact the testing office to give you a link so that you can take the PPA for the spring term. My suggestion is take it now so that you can be over and done with, and you have more time during the summer to prepare and not have so much conflicting in schedules like you would if you take it in the fall, because then you will be taking classes already and you might have assignments, and then it might be more difficult for you to prep for your PPA. So taking it in summer might be more beneficial. I have a question here. Is there any list where we can see if we are if taking the PPA is necessary? Yes, you do. I think the link was provided you in the top here. I'm going to try to look for it and copy it back. I think Amanda sent the link earlier. How do we access your PPA scores? You can send an email to the office and we can tell you how to. You will need to go to your My Academics and click on CSU Fat Grad Campus page, and then your scores will be there. What if I didn't get the PPA score before orientation? Then you will just enroll for the course that you are allowed to enroll at the point until your new score comes in. And then after that, you can contact your success center and they will help you change your schedule for you. If you do not pass the PPA, can we take pre-cal in the fall semester, fall summer school to catch up? You can take the pre-cal in the summer school to catch up. However, as I mentioned, that even if you do catch up and you do add the summer course, the grades might be a problem for you to add the course in the fall. So you might still not be able to. That's kind of why. But you can still try. If you try a semester school, it might be better than a quarter school. Why? Is because the quarter school ends a little bit later for spring quarter, and then their summer courses will probably fall into the fall semester when we come together. Who would we have to email to request the PPA? Just send an email. I'm going to go back one slide, and it has all the email information. Just send the testing office an email, and then we will take care of it for you. You got a 590 on a math score, and you are aviation. Yes, you do not need to take the PPA for a 590 score. However, you'll be enrolling the Math 71X instead of Math 71. So just remember that Math 71X does come with an additional seminar that you are required to take, and Math 71 does not. So if you take the PPA and got a high score on it, you will not need to take the additional seminar in the semester. Do we have any other questions?
Any other questions for Derek?
If you're confused about getting started with the PPA, you can send the testing office an email and we will try to help you out. We can either do a Zoom meeting with you, or we can try to see what we can give you instructions on how to do. Most people have confusion about the PPA where they do not know where to click, or maybe when they log into my ESUHSD, a window that says, voter registration or CalFresh will appear in there and they don't see the PPA link. You do have to click to go to the home screen in order for you to see the PPA link. If you still don't see it, then just send us an email and we will take care of it for you. Yes, the PPA will cost money. You will have to buy your license to Alex. We use Alex PPL as our module for the PPA. That's $20, and the proctoring will be $20. If you take it before June 17. If you take it after June 17, the cost will be $25 to be proctored rather than $20. You will pay $20 to the office and $5 to Alex again for that license for the proctoring. If I take the PPA but end up not enrolling in calculus in the first semester, does my PPA score expire? No, it does not. However, you will have to contact the math department in order to add into the calculus course. If I get a 3 on my calculus BC, do I still need to take the PPA? No, you do not. You do, however, need to send an email to the testing office with your unofficial College Board AP score report so that we can see what score you got, and then we will clear a requirement for you.
Alrighty. Any other questions for Derek from our testing office?
Now is the time to ask, and I can answer most questions. To retake the PPA, you will need to take the practice test again. Yes, you do. And wait for the cooling off period. Our suggestion is to do some knowledge check exercises before you attempt it. If you do want to have the best possible, and you are in category Math 2C, 2, or 1, your better bet is to get a score of 80 or higher, and that will place you directly into calculus. What does the RCW contain and why does it take 10 hours? It contains a questionnaire, and it also contains some writing prompts that you will have to complete, and that's why it takes 10 hours. It does ask you to reflect on what you have. That's kind of why it takes so long. What if you take the PPA and do not score high enough? If you do not score high enough, you still have a chance to retake it the second time. If not, then you will end up enrolling for the course, but the PPA will still help you to practice so that then you will be stronger in maybe your algebra skills or other skills that you can strengthen before you take your pre-calculus. So it has a two-way thing on helping you to ensure that you pass your course in the fall. If I'm not required to take the calculus, but pass the AP Calculus AB or BC High School AP test with a 4, do you still need to take the PPA? No, you don't. If you are not taking a major that requires calculus, you do not need to take the PPA. I just sent my AP scores today, and my orientation date is tomorrow. Will I be able to register for the classes you want? If you got a 5 on your AP Calculus AB, what you will need to do is you will need to log into your AP account tomorrow and then show it to the advisor so that then they are able to enroll to the classes that you want. However, my suggestion is still send an email to the testing office with the unofficial score report so that then we can clear your PPA requirement. So if not, you will still get a message from me, from the testing office. What if you do score 70 on the PPA? Can you say, yes, you will take a course called math. You will take a course that is a pre-calculus and calculus hybrid course together. So it will spend maybe 1/3 in the beginning to cover some pre-calculus courses or modules before you move into calculus, and you will have to get a B or higher in order to get into calculus 2. So that score of 70 will still be sufficient if you want to get there. What if I'm not ready for the PPA? Like we want to take lower level classes to strengthen our math skills. You can choose to take the pre-calculus, but engineering really wants you to take the PPA so that if you take the PPA, you will at least know where you stand in your math skills and know what you need to do. And you might be surprised. I have people that take it that tell me that they are not good in math, but actually their scores are higher than they need to. So, you know, that's something to determine and to see where you placed. So if I take the PPA this summer and pass it, I will still be able to enroll in calculus for my second semester? Yes, you will. This is not regarding the PPA, but I took AP Spanish and my score is 4. How does this test scores help me? This is a question for your orientation in Sparta Camp. You should ask them that question. Can I take the PPA after orientation, then change my class? Yes, you can. That's another option. You, however, have to contact your success center to help you change your course. Any other questions? Ideally, you want to take it so that you don't have to change your course after orientation. So, because then there's nobody to help you pick the course. Yes, you contact the office to get access to the PPA. Right. Make sure you put your first and last name and your ID number.
Thank you so much, Derek. This is really valuable information. I think our students greatly appreciate you being able to answer all their questions. If you did not have a chance to get your question answered, I think Derek will be here for just a little bit more in the chat, but his information or the information for the testing office, as well as Reflection College Writing and your AP scores was listed there, and we'll share that in the Google Classroom as well. So at this time, we do want to make sure that we move on to our next presenter. Once again, thank you so much, Derek. Greatly appreciated with the information provided.
Not a problem. I will stay back. If you have any other questions, you can just type into the chat box and I'll respond to you privately. Okay?
Okay.
And thank you so much, Amanda, for letting me join you on this section.
We're glad to have you. So our next presenter is from our new student and family program. So we have Diana Cisneros and her team who will introduce themselves. You can share your screen in a moment. Right now I have a poll up. Again, Diana, feel free to share your screen. But right now I have a poll up just to see where everyone is at right now, to get an idea of who's all in the room. Take about 1 more minute to complete this. For 30 more seconds. Alrighty, here we're going to go ahead and end the poll. And it looks like of our students here, about 43% are identified as first generation. Me too. For some of you, about a third, you have siblings or cousins who've attended college. Another third, your parents have attended or graduated college. A lot of you have orientation tomorrow and tomorrow, wow, and Friday. Some of you have it the following week and then so forth. Great. For those that are unsure about where to find your orientation, I'm sure it'll be covered in a moment. You can always check your nextsteps.sgsu.edu and click print reservation as well. But at this time, I'm going to go ahead and pass it along to our new Student and Family Programs team.
Good morning. Amanda, I just want to make sure that my presentation is showing correctly.
Yes.
Okay, great. So good morning, everyone. Welcome. Let's see, I will change the slide. My name is Diana Cisneros. I am the Parent and Family Programs Coordinator with New Student and Family Programs at SJSU. I'm originally from downtown San Jose. I have been roaming this campus since I was a child, which you will hear me say often. And this morning, I am joined by some of my colleagues and my student assistant who is going to help translate this presentation to Spanish. So if you haven't done so already, and if they're not already watching over your shoulder, I highly encourage you to invite your parents or your family members to come and take a seat next to you if they're available to watch with you, because a lot of this information is for them. And so we welcome them to join us this morning. Amy, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, good morning, everyone. My name is Amy Estrada. I'm the Parent and Family Liaison for the New Student Family Programs. It is my third year on campus, and I am a sociology major with a concentration in community change. And Terry?
Good morning. My name is Terry Ramos, and I am a member of the Family Advisory Board. I'm also the mom of an incoming fourth-year student. We fortunately just live a mile away from campus, so we're really familiar with living downtown. And we're excited to have you here this morning.
Great. All right, so just to give you a sneak peek at what we're going to cover, we are going to discuss the programs that are offered to your parent and family members. So although these are programs that students can participate in as well, this more so is tailored to support your families and your parents who want to get involved and stay connected to San Jose State and your college experience. And we're also going to talk about how we define a Spartan family and how that can look differently.
So I'm going to translate the slides in Spanish. So hoy vamos a estar hablando del programa de padres y familias. La presentación de hoy específicamente es para los papás, pero también los estudiantes están invitados a escuchar. Vamos a hablar del concilio de familias y vamos a aprender qué significa ser una familia Spartan, y vamos a hablar también de consejos para nuestras familias.
Awesome, thank you, Amy. All right, so one of the programs which I'm sure some of you are already familiar with is the Parent and Family Orientation Program. And we were happy to share this year that it is free because it is now being offered virtually and online. So I highly encourage you to encourage your parent and family members to attend this program because it is free and to take advantage of this free opportunity. And they can register through your Next Steps account. So the same place you would go to look for your orientation session date is where they can register to attend this free program.
Entonces, este año estamos felices de anunciar que nuestra orientación para los padres y las familias es gratis. Este programa continuará después de Sparta Camp, y también van a tener que registrarse para la orientación de padres y familias que se encuentra en ese sitio en la presentación. Y también es importante saber que este programa va a ser virtual y va a ser en la computadora y va a ser el estilo webinar.
And here's a detailed schedule of the program. There will be some videos from different presenters from around campus. So you can see there that we're going to talk about in detail different subjects like campus safety, how to be successful academically, the different resources and opportunities available to students to explore health and wellness, to receive counseling or psychological services, and assistance with from the Accessible Education Center. So much like the student program, we have tailored this information to inform the parents and families and supporters of our students so they can be just as informed.
El programa de padres y familias está diseñado específicamente para informarle a ustedes, las familias, de todo lo que tenemos que ofrecer en la universidad. Por ejemplo, va a haber videos de diferentes departamentos de la universidad y también vamos a tener presentaciones como de ayuda académica, cómo puede ser su estudiante un éxito en la universidad, ayuda financiera, servicios de salud mental, diferentes cosas y información que como los estudiantes les estamos dando esta información, también a ustedes como padres y familias les estamos dando la información y un poco más.
And one of the other free programs that we offer, which I'm sure as students, many of you have already completed this pre-online orientation program, especially for those who have orientation tomorrow. I really do hope that you completed this already. But know that there's also a Spartan link for parent and family members and any type of supporter. So you can share that link with them. They can create an account using your student ID number to access this pre-online orientation. So it's there and available to them to offer any of their immediate questions. Unfortunately, this content is not in Spanish. However, it's something that maybe you could sit with them to help translate and just use it as a way to share information or assist you to share information with your supporters.
So, nuestro Spartan Link es un sitio donde puede encontrar más información de nuestra universidad y más que nada información que también es información que su estudiante va a estar aprendiendo durante la orientación. Y entonces usted como papá o familia puede hacer una cuenta usando el número que la universidad le dio a su estudiante. Y cuando hace esa cuenta, lamentablemente nomás sale información en inglés, pero nosotros les avisamos que como familia se sienten y si puede ayudarle a su estudiante a leer lo que está en la pantalla en inglés para que usted también se informa. Y esta información también tiene muchas respuestas a preguntas que tienen papás y es un buen sitio donde si tiene cualquier duda, no nomás hoy o mañana, sino cualquier día puede regresar a este sitio y tener su respuesta resuelta.
And in addition to Spartan Link, we also have the SJSU Parent and Family Portal. And although the content provided is not translated in Spanish, we are working on that effort. So hopefully later this year, we can provide this portal in Spanish as well, and hopefully in the long term, multiple languages. So I encourage you to, reach out to your supporters, let them know that this is a portal kind of like Facebook or a platform where they can receive notifications and news updates about what's going on at San Jose State. And when they join, they can select a Spanish-speaking community so we know that the articles and things that they're reading are provided to them in Spanish.
Entonces, este es nuestro portal. Nuestro portal es diferente del sitio que hablamos antes. Este portal está disponible para familias y para cualquier apoyador de la familia. En este portal puede encontrar diferentes cosas de información y también esto ahorita no está en español, pero estamos trabajando en hacerlo disponible en español. Nomás usted cuando está creando su cuenta tiene que poner en una de sus comunidades que le gustaría recibir la información en español y nosotros automáticamente le vamos a poder dar esa información en el idioma que usted se sienta más confortable.
Yes. And so I know typically, especially for students entering college for the first time, the tradition, it's assumed that students going to college are supposed to do it all on their own. And it's not like high school and their families and parents can't be as closely involved as they may have been when they were in high school. But I'd like to say that that's not true. At San Jose State, we really believe in our families being involved in the student success process. We know that they play a big part. And so even though we provide these programs to allow your families to stay connected and be involved at San Jose State, we still have to comply with the FERPA guidelines. And the Family Education and Rights Privacy Act essentially protects students and their records. So it helps create that barrier between the difference of college and high school, and how once you enter college, your family members can't just walk in and ask for your grades. That's totally up to you and how much information you decide to share with them. And for some of you who may want to share more information with them, can complete those different release forms so that your family members have more access to help you to remember to pay tuition or to meet certain deadlines and things like that. So if you have any more questions about where to find those release forms, that information is in Spartan link, and you can refer back to it to find that information.
Entonces, lo que explicó Diana es de la Ley de los Derechos Educativos y Privacidad Familiar, y básicamente es una ley que protege los derechos y todos los documentos de los estudiantes. Entonces, si usted como familiar o padre quiere tener acceso a documentos de sus grados, de su ayuda financiera, va a tener que llenar una aplicación en el sitio de FERPA. Y después de que llenas ese papel, usted va a tener más acceso a diferentes documentos e información de su estudiante de parte de la universidad. Y nosotros los apoyamos en que hagan esto porque como diferente de la high school, la universidad, a veces se piensa que los papás o las familias se tienen que hacer a un lado o que los estudiantes tienen que hacerlo todo solo, pero eso en verdad no es como debe de ser. Nosotros como estudiantes necesitamos el apoyo de nuestras familias y nuestros padres, y esta es una manera como ustedes se pueden mantener involucrados en la vida de sus estudiantes.
All right, and now I'm going to pass it on to Terry, who is going to talk a bit about the Family Advisory Board.
Good morning. The mission statement of the FAB is to serve as a liaison between parents, their students, and the university. Our board is comprised of 18 members, and we attend board meetings, we serve on committees, we volunteer at different university events. We're able to provide feedback and advice to San Jose State, representing the interests of all of our families. La misión del FAB, que es el Concilio de Familias, es la oportunidad de proporcionar asesoría sobre asuntos de importancia para los estudiantes, padres y simpatizantes de la Universidad de San José. Proporcionamos asistencia para el desarrollo de un departamento robusto y activo. De igual forma, sirve como enlace para los padres y estudiantes y los simpatizantes de la universidad. Y buscamos apoyo para obtener soluciones en línea con la misión de la universidad. Yo lo puedo comparar como lo que es el PTA cuando sus jóvenes estaban en la escuela, en la elemental, en la intermediaria y en la high school. Viene siendo básicamente lo mismo. So the equivalent, I would say, is the FAB is kind of like the PTA. I'm sure you've all been involved in elementary school, middle school, high school in some form, and that's pretty much what the Family Advisory Board does. We're made up of an 18-person board comprised of parents, family members of current SJSU students. We provide input and feedback directly to new student and family programs, and we volunteer at several different events throughout the year. Somos compuestos, el Concilio de Familias está compuesto por 18 personas que somos padres o familiares de los alumnos, estudiantes actuales de la Universidad de San José. Proporcionamos información y comentarios directamente a los programas de nuevos estudiantes y familias. Y actuamos como voluntarios en varios eventos a lo largo del año escolar. We have additional program and events, which is Spartan to Spartan, between 5 and 7 p.m. These are normally hosted in separate Zoom calls by San Jose State, the Family Advisory Board. This is taking place, we have 3 dates, actually 6 dates, I believe. Wednesdays, Mondays and Wednesdays again, so it's Mondays and Wednesdays, June 17th, 24th, July 13th, 20th, and August 5th and 12th. También vamos a tener eventos especiales y programas proporcionados por el Departamento de Familias y por medio del concilio familiar vamos a ayudarles durante un evento especial que se va a llevar a cabo entre 5 y 7 de la tarde los miércoles y lunes. Tenemos diferentes fechas. A ver, estoy queriendo ver aquí las fechas. Junio 14 y 24, julio 13 y 20. Diana, what are those last dates? I can't see them on my screen.
The 5th and 12th.
O el 5 y el 12 de, is it August? Yes. 5 y el 12. Okay. Perfect.
Thank you.
El concilio de familias se pueden comunicar con nosotros a los correos electrónicos que están aquí al frente, familyadvisoryboard@sjsu.edu, o en el sitio de la red, que es sjsu.edu new Spartans. If you try and get some information or you want to contact the Family Advisory Board, feel free to do so by emailing us at familyadvisoryboard@sjsu. Or you can contact us via the website at sjsu.edu new Spartans. What is a Spartan family? ¿Qué es una familia Spartan? Well, the Spartan family is a group of parents, guardians, anybody who is a parent, a guardian, an extended family, siblings, caregivers, partners, any other support member that your student might have. San Jose State considers all, everybody in your circle of support to be partners in the educational experience of your student. So, la familia Spartan es compuesta por todos los padres, los guardianes, los primos, primas, tíos, abuelitas, novios, todos los que son miembros de su círculo de apoyo del estudiante. Los vemos a todos como partícipes de apoyo y compañeros en la educación de sus estudiantes. Let's have Amy start talking to us a little bit about her own Spartan family. Voy a pasar el tiempo a Amy para que ella hable un poco sobre su experiencia de su familia Spartan.
So yes, my Spartan family is made up of a few different people. First, I consider my Spartan family to be my mom and my dad, just because they give me motivation. They help me, like I call them every single day. If my mom doesn't answer, I run to my dad. And not only that, but they really also help me with like keeping my space the same at home, because I know sometimes when I would come back and things were rearranged, like I felt out of place. So just having my environment whenever I came back home. I also consider my sister to be one of my biggest motivations as well, one of my biggest supporters. I also included my mentor. This mentor I've had since I was in high school, and she continues to be a support system for me through, you know, sometimes just checking my essays for me, or if it comes down to like, oh, let's sit down and have a conversation about like your resume, or let's have a conversation about your grades this semester, whatever the case may be, she's always willing to just sit down and talk and give me her advice. And I also included one of my very own mentors from a program that I'm involved with here on campus that's called Aspire. And I consider this program to be kind of like my home away from home. And if I ever just need to rant about anything, or I just want somewhere to chill with a little bit of space between classes, I'll go to Aspire. And like I said, I always just feel at home there. And one of my biggest things that, like, biggest advice I can give for you students is to try to find your home away from home here on campus, whether that be joining Greek life or whether that is like joining a different program on campus. Try to find your community here so you can truly feel integrated. And now I'm going to say this all in Spanish. Personas que son parte de mi familia Spartan son mi mamá y mi papá. Yo incluí mi mamá y mi papá porque ellos siempre están disponibles para hablar en el teléfono o si es apoyarme con cualquier cosa que yo les pregunto. Me recuerdo mi primer año cuando yo estaba en los finales, mi papá y mi mamá me sorprendieron y vinieron a la universidad, me trajeron como comida, como un paquete de cosas para que yo pueda sobrevivir los finales. También incluí a mi hermana porque a veces hay cosas que no me siento muy confortable hablando con mis papás, pero la cosa buena es que ahí está mi hermana para apoyarme. También incluí una mentora que ha estado conmigo desde high school. Ella me apoya como en revisando mis ensayos, mi resume, lo que sea. Ella está allí para ayudarme. También incluí una mentora que tengo aquí de la universidad que se llama Angélica. Angélica es parte de un programa para estudiantes que son de primera generación, de low income areas. Ella está allí como para escucharme, para guiarme en la universidad y como les dije a los estudiantes, yo siento que Aspire es como mi casa fuera de mi casa y es importante que los estudiantes encuentren como su apoyo no nomás con su familia y sus papás, sino también con alguien aquí en la universidad.
Okay, Terry, would you like to share yours?
Ooh, my experience. Okay, my experience, I'm coming from the perspective of a parent and the anxieties that we as parents share when our children are going off to college. First of all, let me tell you a little bit about myself, my children. My daughter I met is an incoming fourth-year student at San Jose State. She's a biomedical engineering major. She's also an athlete. She plays rugby, club sport rugby at San Jose State. I'm also the mom of an alumni. We have a son who graduated in 2013. So I could tell you very, very frankly and sincerely that your students are coming to a great university. You have a lot to be proud of. Mi perspectiva viene un poco del lado, bueno, primeramente del lado de los papás, porque esa es la perspectiva que yo tengo. Déjenme decirles un poco sobre mis estudiantes que tengo en la universidad. Tengo una hija, está por entrar a su cuarto año de la universidad. Su enfoque de ella es ciencia biomédica. También somos padres de un hijo que se graduó en la universidad en el 2013. Entonces, quiero que se sientan con la certeza y la confianza que están mandando a sus hijos a una de las mejores universidades en el país. I'd also like to let you know that I live just 1 mile away from campus, so it's important that you become familiar with your neighborhood. And it's pretty safe. It's fairly safe considering the size of our city. It's important that as parents you feel comfortable knowing that your children are safe. Nosotros vivimos a 1 milla de distancia de la universidad. Siéntanse con la seguridad que sus hijos vienen a la universidad que está segura. Estamos localizados en el centro de San José y a pesar de que la ciudad es grande, estamos en un lugar seguro. For those of you that are, my experience is a little different perhaps than several of you if you're not coming in to stay in the dorms or not, but in spite of living a mile away from campus, our daughter decided that she wanted to live on campus, so we allowed her the opportunity. It was great because she became responsible. It was really interesting to see how quickly she became responsible. She learned how to do her laundry, she knew how to eat, she learned how to cook her own food. It was kind of eye-opening to see that experience and see her growth throughout just the several weeks of school. La experiencia nuestra es un poco distinta quizás que muchos porque a pesar de vivir a 1 milla de la universidad, le permitimos a nuestra hija vivir en los dormitorios de la universidad. Fue impresionante realmente ver su crecimiento que ella tuvo en las primeras semanas del colegio. Aprendió rápidamente a lavar su ropa, a hacerse de comer, realmente a hacerse responsable, que para nosotros como padres es algo realmente que nos aporta satisfacción saber que ellos están haciendo independientes y responsables. I think that's pretty much it, other than probably get onto some tips or something.
Yeah, great.
So we have some tips to share with you. It's important that you get involved in the university. There's over 400 organizations on campus, which cover every range. There's sports, there's different ethnic groups, diversity. We have a very diverse campus. You can join a number of different clubs, interests, whatever, anything related to your major. It's important to stay involved in your campus, get involved in your campus so you have an additional support system and you have an added interest too that you can share with your colleagues and things that allow you to have some ownership of the university and feel that you're really involved. Es importante que se mantengan involucrados sus estudiantes, que sepan que son parte de una universidad, que son miembros de un grupo de personas que están interesados en su bienestar. Hay muchos grupos muchos grupos en los cuales a los que pueden participar. Hay más de 400 clubes en la universidad de diferentes, tienen de literatura, tienen de deportes, tienen de religión, tienen de cosas enfocadas a su estudio de enfoque en la universidad, pero realmente es importante que se mantengan activos y interesados en los diferentes programas que se ofrecen en la universidad. Amy, did you want to add anything on the getting involved? And
Yeah, I was just gonna say that we do have a lot to offer, but if you still feel like you can't find somewhere where you fit in or you can't find your group of people, you can always start a club. You can always start with a few group of people and with a professor and try to build your own community if you don't find that you fit in anywhere within those 400 organizations.
Perfect. I'm going to talk a little bit about campus safety. As parents too, I think it's important that that your student knows and feels safe at the university. There's a number of different blue phones throughout the university that anytime your student feels threatened or unsafe or frightened or whatever, they can pick up a phone and it dials directly into university police. There's also a really great escort service in the evening. So if your student has a late class and they have to walk back to the parking structure and they're feeling a little uneasy or whatever, they can just pick up that phone, call it, and somebody will come and escort them to their car. I think that's a really great feature. And again, as parents, we want to be sure that our children are safe and that they're protected. So quiero hablarles un poco sobre la seguridad de su estudiante. Es importante que sepan que en la universidad tenemos diferentes teléfonos azules. Así que si en cualquier momento se sienten amenazados, se sienten con temor o algo, pueden levantar uno de esos teléfonos y se pueden comunicar directamente con la policía. Proveen un servicio de escorte también en la noche. Si sus estudiantes tienen una clase tarde, que sale, digamos, a las 10 de la noche, se sienten un poco temerosos de llegar a su auto en el estacionamiento, pueden llamar de nuevo utilizando sus teléfonos azules, llamar a un escorte, vienen por ellos, los encaminan a su carro y ya pueden llegar a su casa con seguridad. We also have, I want to talk a little bit about parking and transportation. I think it's important that maybe 2 or 3 weeks before school starts, that you probably take a drive to the university, become familiar with the different side streets that you can navigate to get to campus, because the first few weeks of school, it gets pretty bad, in the mornings especially. Become familiar with the different parking structures, again, the different side streets. I believe we still offer, is there still a Clipper card, Deanna, that's offered to all students? So you can get public transportation access to the university. Become very familiar with your surroundings in terms of where your parking options are. That's what I could say as a parent. También como madre de familia es importante que les quiero recordar que el estacionamiento en la universidad está un poco limitado. Entonces, les aconsejo que 2 o 3 semanas antes de que vuelvan los estudiantes a la escuela, que vengan a la universidad, manejen, se familiaricen un poco con el vecindario alrededor de la escuela, identifiquen dónde están los estacionamientos, dónde pueden estacionarse, conozcan diferentes rutas para llegar a la universidad, porque los primeros días realmente hay bastante tráfico alrededor de la universidad. One more thing I want to talk about, is it okay, Diana, about the South Campus parking? Ok, hay otro estacionamiento que está como a 1 milla de retirado de la universidad. Está en la esquina de la calle Alma y la calle 7. Pueden sus estudiantes estacionar su carro allí. Llega un camión, se me hace que cada 20 o 30 minutos, los recoge y los transporta a la escuela. Tienen el servicio durante el día. Igualmente, el servicio es en la noche. One more thing I want to talk about is that we also have additional parking lot. It's over on South Campus. It's on the corner of Elma and 7th Street. So that's also a parking option for your students. It's a park and ride type of setup where your student parks their car. A bus comes and picks them up. And I think buses are running every 20 or 30 minutes, I believe, back to campus. And they're circling throughout the day and the evening hours. Did you want to add anything else to that, Amy?
I think you touched every single point. Yeah, I was just going to add one thing going back to campus safety, is that if you are going to be living on campus, whether if it's in the spring or the following years, our university police department does come and they do rounds sometimes at night, which I personally, as a student who lives on campus, I feel really safe when I see that happen, and it makes me feel like they actually, are here to protect us. And I think that's a cool, service that our UPD does. And, we always have 24-hour supervision in the front desks of our dorms, which is also for our safety as well. And to translate that in Spanish, nuestro departamento de policía de la universidad viene durante a veces las noches a hacer rutinas para revisar los dormitorios, asegurarse que todo está bajo control, y también hay supervisión 24 horas del día en los dormitorios también. Entonces yo, como una estudiante que se queda en los dormitorios, yo me siento bien segura, y me da gusto ver que la policía también está haciendo su mejor trabajo para ser presente en nuestra universidad y asegurarse que los estudiantes se sientan seguros.
Can I add one more thing, Diana?
Sure.
Okay, so one more thing I just wanted to share about my own personal experience is that I don't know, with the fall situation and coronavirus, I don't know how many students will be actually living on campus, but for parents, it's important that you realize that empty nest syndrome is a real thing. I know it sounds kind of quirky, but it's real. I mean, even though I lived a mile away, my daughter was just down the street, I seriously had empty nest syndrome. So just keep in mind, take care of yourselves as parents, make sure that you're okay, because remember that we can only support our students if we're okay. So that's one tip I wanted to share with you. Quiero compartir con ustedes un poco de mi experiencia también, que es que el síndrome del nido vacío es una realidad, a pesar de que nosotros vivimos tan solo a 1 milla de la universidad. Yo me sentí un poco desubicada cuando mi hija se fue al colegio, pero es importante que nosotros nos mantengamos sanos de mente para poder apoyar a nuestros estudiantes.
Yes, if you have any questions, please add them to the chat. Amy and Terry, thank you so much for translating for us this morning. Know that we ideally would love to be able to translate our information in multiple languages. So please keep in mind that that may be somewhere down the road. And know that, again, and always remember that families matter at SJSU. So if your family members and supporters have any questions and they are hesitant about asking the questions because they can't ask them in English, please reassure them that they can send us questions in any language and we will do our best to support them however we can. So thank you so much. Make sure you complete Spartan Link if you do have orientation tomorrow. And we look forward to hopefully meeting all of you on campus someday.
Great. Thank you so much, Deanna, Terry, and Amy. Really great information. I think I spoke about my experience as well, you know, being a first-generation student and how college can be that family experience. So we really appreciate you sharing those resources for our family members. Now, we do have about 8 minutes or so, and I want to take this time to hear from our family members as well. So one, if you do have questions for our presenters, please go ahead and put them in the chat. They'll still be around to be able to address those for you here. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and you can also utilize the chat. So I have a couple questions. So one, just to kind of see where everyone is at, and students and family members, you can both answer this. But what is your biggest concern about attending college? So go ahead and put that in the chat now. I can share just one of my biggest concerns as we wait for folks to be able to put in the chat. One of my biggest concerns was finances, definitely being able to pay for college, not only first generation, but also low income families. So there wasn't a whole lot of money for college. So definitely when your counselors say, fill out that FAFSA application, take advantage of that. Take advantage of that free money and those resources to be able to pay for your college experience. Yeah, a lot of similar finances, paying for classes, time management. Time management was for me as well. Having a planner definitely helps with that. Our students actually will share some resources tomorrow on things that have helped them with their experiences. Transportation, yeah. Utilizing those Clipper cards that we offer definitely helps with transportation. We have some other concerns like handling the workload. Yeah, I mean, college work, it is very different from high school work. It does require a little bit more dedication, a little bit more discipline, but the fact that you are all here, and most of you have been here throughout our entire program, like this is about 2 weeks almost that we've been together. It shows you have that discipline, that skill, and that mindset to be able to be successful and strong in this process. Great. Moving on to our next question. What are you most excited about in starting college? This is your first semester of college. You're starting at one of the top universities in the West Coast. We've been ranked consistently in the top 5, top 10 of of best universities offering bachelor's and master's degrees. So I think this year we're number 5. So it's a great place to study. So what are you excited about? Awesome, getting to meet new people, studying, yeah. Meeting new people. I will say the great thing too is definitely making sure you get involved. I know that can seem a little bit odd since a lot of classes are remote, but you're still going to have group projects and group presentations and things that you'll have to work on in class. So getting familiar with your groups there. If you haven't already started using it for your RCW, Canvas, you'll be utilizing that for some of your classes to do discussion groups, be able to engage with other students. Again, some of our classes will be in person, so you have that opportunity there as well. And then student involvement. So those that were in their session last week, they talked about how there's going to be multiple opportunities to still join clubs, sororities, fraternities, and get really involved in our campus community. There's over 450 organizations, so a lot of ways that you can get involved, even though a lot of stuff will be remote. Playing music again, that's awesome. I play a little guitar myself, fun fact. Yeah, just starting that new step in your life. Thank you all so much for sharing. So definitely make sure that you utilize the resources that have been shared so far, getting involved, contacting these different offices if you have questions about the exams, about, different communities of support that are available, questions on orientation. Do want to cover just a couple things, as a lot of you do have your orientation tomorrow, and my colleagues in orientation can chime in, please do. But if your orientation is tomorrow, you do have to be there for your entirety. You have to log in for the entire time that's there. I'll show you the schedule that was posted on the website in a moment. If you do not attend your orientation, you are putting your fall admission at risk because you will not be able to enroll in classes. And if you don't enroll in classes your first semester, you will be withdrawn. So definitely make sure you stay for the entire length of orientation. You don't arrive late. You don't just log off early because, that I don't need to know about that. You need to know. You need to be part of every single step of this process. We're here to support you through every single step of this process. So definitely be part of that. It is a 2-day orientation. So again, I'll show the schedule in just a moment so you can be able to get familiar with what that will look like. If you do have questions, the website is here, sjsu.edu/newspartans, as well as the email for fresh orientation. And then earlier was shared the email for our family members. We'll be able to put that in the Google Classroom as well. But other questions. So earlier this week and last week, you got to hear from your academic advisors in your College Success Center. So you got to hear about the My Roadmap, how to utilize My Scheduler, their advice on classes, as well as some of them providing their direct contact information, which is shared in the Google Classroom. If you don't know where to access their information, or maybe you're not too sure where your Success Center is, the website sjsu.edu/sfs/advising lists all of our College Success Centers and where those majors fall under there. But to prepare, really take advantage of the resources we've provided so far in being able to practice creating your schedule and utilizing the search features in My SJSU, My Scheduler, and being able to continue that draft. As a reminder, you will be block scheduled into anywhere between 1 to 3 courses, depending on the program, the college, and so forth, as a couple other factors. So keep that in mind and have your list of questions ready. So that way when it's time for you to talk with that advisor, you are fully able to engage with that process and make it as efficient and useful for you as possible. So that schedule for orientation, as it shows here, 8:50 to 9 a.m. is a check-in. So yeah, it does start at 9, but check in earlier. Make sure that your internet connection is good, that your audio is good, your camera is good, and all of that, so forth. From 9 to 9:45, you get connected with your orientation leader. 9:45 to 11 is a university welcome. From 11 to 12 is a Spartan to Spartan with your orientation leader. Also, important note, you should have received a confirmation letter that has the Zoom webinar link. So if not, please do, and your orientations tomorrow, please do contact them immediately. Then there's a lunch break. So, take some time, go to the kitchen, make something, DoorDash something, whatever that might be. Come back at 1 o'clock, because from 1 to 2, that's your time with your College Success Center to be able to get those questions answered on academic advising, on your schedule for fall, on which class would be better, this one or that one. So definitely make sure that you do come back after lunch. And day 2 starts at 9 a.m. and this is all with your college. So again, continuing that academic requirement discussion, helping you be able to work on that schedule and so forth. So please, if you do have questions, I'll put their information back up here once more. It is our SJSU New Student Friendly Programs, frosh-orientations at sjsu.edu. And we do have, again, them on the chat as well. So if you do have questions, please feel free to utilize the chat in our last few minutes here, or, be able to turn on your mic and ask that question. So we do have a question here about the Alex PPA. So if for questions on the PPA, please do email our testing office. They'll be able to best assist you there. See, if you have taken an AP exam and received credit, what class does that look like? Okay, so we had a question on AP exam scores. I'll go ahead and actually show what that looks like. That'll be the best way visually rather than verbally. Okay, so there's another question here about what classes are typically block scheduled. It honestly varies. For some majors, or for some colleges, it's major specific courses. For others, it's it's mostly like GEs. It really depends. I wouldn't have just one straight answer for you there. Okay, so for AP scores, info.sjsu, credit by exam, AP, and then this one is art history. So art history is actually, wow, 6 units. It equates to these two classes, and you would have completed GE area C1 or C2. So it's like the either or there. So you would get to decide as you're going through looking for your classes, because the way we have our GEs, you have a C1, a C2, and then an extra of either. So you could see where that would go there and talk with your advisor about that. What does the orientation confirmation email look like? I will refer to Deanna actually on this. Still with us here? Okay. Might have logged off, but to my knowledge, what it looks like is it is sent to your actual email. So you would get that email. It would have that Zoom link in there that says, this is your confirmation. You can always also go to nextsteps.sjsu.edu to be able to see that information there for when your date is. But as for that Zoom links, if you did not get that confirmation email or you can't find it in either your personal or your SJSU email, I would recommend contacting New Student Family Programs as soon as possible today, especially if your orientation is tomorrow. The orientation schedule is available on our New Student Family Programs website. So that is sjsu.edu/new Spartans. And there's tons of great resources here, starting with Spartan Link, Sparta Count, which is your freshman orientation, resources for parent and family members, so that those links to the parent orientation that is free, and I highly recommend for your family members to be able to go through that process. Parent and family portal, so again, that Facebook for them, the family advisory board, so like the PTA, and events that are coming up. So if we look here at Sparta Count, great information, definitely read through that if you do need some assistance there. All the dates, and here where it says Sparta Camp schedule, we'll click here, and it will show us what that day, or what both of those days will look like. Some other tips to help you prepare, and then again, their contact information. So definitely email them if your orientation is tomorrow and you have not seen that confirmation email. I would again check both your personal and your SJSU email, even your spam. Sometimes messages tend to go there, hopefully not, but just to be sure. All right, any last questions before we close out for today? So unfortunately, at this time, you cannot change your orientation. In regards to the parent orientation, I would contact New Student and Family Programs directly. Okay. So last things about what is next as we close out and wait for any other questions. Again, if you have Sparta Camp tomorrow and Friday, attend your Sparta Camp orientation. That is a mandatory process to retain your admission for the fall. So do attend your Sparta Camp orientation. We'll send you a self-paced module so you can finish out the program. And we do have a list of those whose orientation is tomorrow. So we know who attended, or rather, who was supposed to attend orientation. So definitely make sure that you do so. Spartan link, camp email, sent to her. So it may have been sent to your SJSU email. Now, the reason I say check both your SJSU email and your personal email is because depending on when you did the intent to enroll, and depending when it was updated in the system, at some point, everyone's default email goes over to firstname.lastname@sjsu.edu. Unless you go into My SJSU and change that as your preferred email to go to your personal email address. Now, the reason I say it depends on when you did your next steps is because if you did it a little bit later, like let's say, like May 31st, for example, then that would not be updated yet, and yours would be in your personal email rather than the SJSU. So depending on when you did complete that, I would recommend checking both and checking your spam folders for both as well, just in case. Great question. So I have a question here about orientation being one of that later sections. How will it affect availability of classes? So there will definitely still be classes. There might not be as many options in terms of, starting class at 12 noon every day, but there will still definitely be some options there for you to select. So usually the link is sent about, from what I hear, it's about sent 1 to 2 weeks prior at max. So if your orientation is a little further out, you might not have gotten that link yet. If your orientation is tomorrow or tomorrow, you should have gotten it. If it is next week, you should have gotten it as well. But if it's further out, like the 25th or something, you'll probably get it next week. Okay. So once again, if you have not gotten that link, you will need to contact our new Student and Family Programs office with their email being that frosh-orientation@sjsu.edu. So definitely contact them today. Last two things here, our last two courses. So tomorrow, for those of you that will be joining us since you don't have orientation, Spartan Life, we're going to be joined by our Counseling Psychological Service Office, or as we call them, CAPS, to talk all about mindfulness and stress management. So mindfulness, for those that might not be familiar, it's a way to really kind of stay in that moment, to be focused on what is going on in that present time, to be able to help yourself be a little bit more aware, be able to be a little bit more focused, as well as some stress management to help you navigate what this process is going to look like. So the reason this is important is this is a brand new transition. This is a brand new step in your educational journey, going to college for the first time, being in a new environment. And we want to make sure that we provide you with the tools to help you navigate any and all possible steps with that process and help you adjust. We're also going to have a student panel, so you can hear from current SJSU students about their experience, our peer mentors to be more specific. And then our last day, course 10 on Friday. This is our Spartan support class where we're going to be joined by the academic preparations office. So if you've received any messages about a English or math category, M1, M2, M3, or M4, if you've received messages about taking a support class when you sign up for your orientation, if you've received messages about how, since there's not early start, this is what you would be recommended to do, definitely attend this session if you don't have orientation. The office is going to talk directly about your next steps and how to best prepare. So it's an incredibly important presentation to get ready for your classes for your fall semester. Okay, we have another question here. Where exactly will you see the confirmation letter for orientation on the OneSJSU portal? So the confirmation, it should have been sent to your email. So this could either be your SJSU Gmail account or your personal email, again, depending on when you completed that next steps process, or if you've gone into My SJSU and changed your personal email as your preferred. I'm going to put their email address up here once more as it's incredibly important, but if your orientation is tomorrow and you have not received the link, do contact frosh-orientation@sjsu.edu. Great. So it has an auto response of a general FAQ. You will get an actual response after. So that auto response really is set up because sometimes students' general questions can be answered by what is in those FAQs, but you will get an actual response later on. Other questions? Okay. So that being said, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, parents and family members, for joining us as well. We're glad that you were able to be with us in this process and the step to support your student on that next step of their educational journey. We are excited to be part of this journey with you as well. We've got 2 more courses to go, and then we'll go from there. Alrighty, let me know if you do have any questions, and take care, everybody.